Okay, so today we're going to do the fast learn procedure using the Autel MS906TS on my 2016 GMC Sierra. About a year ago, I did the fluid change with the Blue Label Mobile One HV fluid, and that fixed the transmission shutter. That is 100% taken care of, the shutter. It took care of about 95% of the shifting, the erratic shifting, mainly from first to second and second back down to first. It doesn't do it all the time. Most of the time it shifts perfect. But every now and then I'll get that harsh first to second, depending on the engine load and whether I'm stepping on the gas, or if I start to accelerate and I just let off the gas, sometimes it'll bang into second. So I'm just going to do the fast learn. We'll go through that procedure using this Autel. And what the fast learn does is puts the transmission in a series of tests so that the shift solenoids and the clutches can learn their optimal shifting pattern. And it uses that for clutch control during the shifting of the transmission. Anyway, the transmission has got to be, the book says 167 degrees Fahrenheit to 185. And that's about where we're at right now. So before I even start the truck up, let's go ahead and get in here, and we'll get the vehicle set up. It says it can take up to 10 minutes, and this does not require any driving to do this. There is a solenoid characterization procedure that you can do, and depending on which shift solenoids you want to program, it takes you through a drive cycle, and it tells you, what RPM to drive at and all that. Hopefully I'm not going to have to do that, but we'll see. I'm going to do the fast learn first, which is this one right here. Here's the transmission clutch learn, was what I was just talking about. We're going to do the transmission service fast learn. So it says this function should only be carried out after a component replacement or transmission internal repair. Notice this test may take up to 10 minutes. Refer to the related service documents for extra info. And that is correct. I mean, if you do any kind of a major repair or a component replacement, you definitely want to do this. That does not mean that if you don't do those repairs that you should not do this. If you're having shifting issues, this will not hurt anything to go ahead and do it, even if you haven't replaced anything. Worst case scenario, nothing different happens. You still have your shifting issues. Best case scenario, it may make it better, may actually fix your problem. I've had to do this similar deal on Nissans and Toyotas by just re-entering their initialization number off of the transmission. I've actually got a video on that somewhere in that library that shows that, and it completely takes care of the problem. So if nothing, if you got issues, before you take it to a shop or try to dig into it yourself, it's worth trying to do the fast learn. Okay, conditions not satisfied, so I've got to bring the temperature up. Let me go ahead and start the vehicle. Hopefully we don't have to sit here too long. turn the AC down just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in gear just for a little bit. I don't like to brake torque my vehicles much. When you do this, also, it's also a good idea to set the parking brake, and you have to do this in drive, and you need the you need your foot on the brake at all times. Okay, so it's saying 172 up here on the dash. Ignition. Okay, it functions success, but unable to complete shift or the vehicle can't drive. Please ignition off and wait for 3 to 6 minutes, then try again. If still not work, that's the China interpretation. Repeat the function again. So let's give this a shot again. We're at about 176 according to the dash. Alright, shift the transmission into gear D drive. Continue to hold the brake. Okay. You can see the RPMs doing their thing, and I can feel the transmission shifting in and out of gear. You may even be able to hear it. I mean, it's a pretty good clunk. The scan tool's kind of just nothing's happening on the scan tool. RPM's coming down. It's shifting again. RPM will go up and then it'll shift. I have both the parking brake and my foot on the brake. I'm not touching the gas. The scan tool is doing this. You can actually hear noise from the transmission. That's normal. Scan tool, still just on the same screen. Nothing's going on it. There's the shifting again. So it's just going in and out of gear. It's going in and out of neutral. It's doing its thing. And after we do this, we'll go ahead and take it for a test drive. Now, the manual says that it can take up to, I don't know, a certain amount of time for it to learn the perfect shifting pattern, or whatever you want to call it. So even if it's not perfectly shifting right when I take it on the test drive, once I drive it for a little while, then the manual says that it will get better. I think it says up to 20 minutes of driving or something like that. Scan tool still on the same page. Drive calibration test in progress. There's the RPMs, the shifting. You can actually hear and feel it shifting. Should be getting close to complete. And like I say, if you've got shifting issues, you could take your vehicle to a shop and you could tell them that all you want to do is have them do this fast learn. They shouldn't charge much because it's going to take less than an hour. A lot of shops will charge you a minimum of an hour's labor, and they should be able to do it in less than an hour. So whatever their shop rate is for an hour, a lot of shops around here is about $110 an hour. So you ought to be able to get them to do it for that, about $100, you know, $100 to $110, I would think. Or you can buy you a scan tool. Okay, so now we finished. Okay, transmission adaptive values learn is successful. The conditions below may occur while testing. The engine stalls, the transmission exhibits the characteristics of gear in neutral even through the gear selectors in drive. To exit the test, perform the steps in the order below. Failure to properly exit the test may lead to a condition without drive, set transmission, DTCs, or both. Shift the transmission into park. Exit this control function. Ignition off. Open the driver's door for 30 seconds, then close the driver's door. Okay, so I'm going to exit this page on the scan tool, and then I'm going to turn the ignition off and open the driver's door for 30 seconds. Ignition's off. Driver's door's open. Now this page says, if function success but unable to complete shift or the vehicle can't drive, please ignition off and wait 3 to 6 minutes, then try again. If still no work, repeat the function again. So let's hope it works. Sometimes it does throw it out of sync, but all you gotta do is just go through it again, and normally it'll be just fine. We'll go ahead and hit OK to that and get back to this page. And what I noticed toward the end, when it was shifting through the gears, it was getting lighter and lighter in the shifts. When it first would up the RPM and start shifting in and out of gear, it was pretty harsh. It was a pretty rough shift. I mean, you felt it. You felt the vehicle surge and jump, and you heard the clunk of the transmission. Then, as it went through all those cycles, toward the end of it, it was a lot softer process. Okay, so I'm going to close the door. We're going to start it up. We're going to see how she acts. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go into drive to start with. Okay, I'm in drive. Let me release the parking brake. Find it with my foot. There we go. Okay, there's reverse. And we are backing up. There's drive. We're going forward. So let's go ahead and we'll just take it around the block real quick and see how she does. And like I say, the book says it can take, I believe it says up to about 20 minutes of driving for the shifting to kind of find its optimal shift pattern. So don't be discouraged if you do this and the shifting isn't exactly what you was hoping for. Okay, first a second I didn't even feel. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and get it out here so we can get it all the way through the all 8 speeds. Everything's looking good up here on the dash. Okay, the first to second was just as smooth as butter. Doing about 45. Should be in eighth gear right now, I believe. If not, pretty close. Running about 1,000 RPM. I'm going to go ahead and turn around and head back. As you can see, it's nighttime. I actually just got off work. And the reason I did it like this is because it takes a while for my transmission to actually warm up that hot. So I figured right when I pulled up in the driveway, it'd be a perfectly good time to do it. I'm going to go ahead and come to a stop, and we'll be able to hit first and second, plus I want to feel the second to first. Second to first was smooth. We're in first. There's second. No clunking, nice and smooth. Now, before I did this, sometimes it would be just like this. It would be perfect. So I'm going to actually have to drive it for probably about a week to find out if it's 100% cured. It would do it at least 3 or 4 times a week. So after about a week, I'll know for sure if this helped. And I'm not going to post this video for at least another week. So when I do, I'll put a message at the very end saying whether or not it took care of the problem or not. But right now, it's looking pretty good. So hopefully I'm going to be good to go on that. Yeah, so far every shift is perfect. Now before I pull completely up in the driveway, I was just wanting to go into reverse just to see what it feels like. Okay, perfect. Back into drive, perfect. So hopefully in about a week we'll be able to tell whether or not this is a fix or not. 100% fixed. We're back in park, and it is in park, so all is good. That's all I got. You guys take care.